Good evening. It's Joyful Christian Hermit. And Sean came this afternoon, or it's actually late afternoon, like around 4:30, 4:45. And I realized he didn't really want to talk. He is struggling. He had a brain injury in Air Force Academy when he was younger. He's 31 now, and a rifle butt hit him in the back of the head, low, and caused some brain damage and a concussion. Then a week later, so the brain damage got overlooked. They noticed the concussion but didn't realize. And it's irreversible. So he's dealing with that. Plus, he loses energy. Took him a long time, but he persevered. And he's brilliant. He's a genius, literally, seriously. And he got a master's in cybersecurity. But he can't work full time because he loses energy. He can just be so exhausted. And so he's getting help, working on anything, trying to get some healing, or figuring out, ways to even through what he eats and just a whole holistic approach, plus medical too. So he's getting lots of help, but see, the brain damage of it, which is affecting not anything mental that we would consider, but this exhaustion and inability to sustain energy, which is needed for a full-time job and to function well. So he was very tired when he came. And of course, I realized later he did not want to talk about healing and health things, but I can relate with him. And I explained to him, I said, I just need to talk these things over with you, because I realize it's hard for people to understand. We all have different missions and things in life and purposes. And I was mentioning, Dr. H and the super patch he's gotten so interested in, and I did mail them back and changed my note to him, just expressing, what I considered his gift was in psychology. He's gifted in that. But when he veered into wanting to have physical healing with people, dogs are having their roughhousing, so I got to just sort of hang on and hope I don't get pulled down. But this deal he's into really isn't. If it's effective for people, it's the what do you call it? Placebo effect. There's no proof. The company has done its own research, and no one else has been doing research on it, or been allowed to, I guess, or hasn't done it because it's just not viable. But, if it helps people, fine, the people who believe it. But I researched it and thought, no way, it was just a money sucker, really. But, and I see through things, so it wasn't going to be a placebo for me. And I have my help. I have what works. My problem is not recognizing in time that until it's practically too late that I am way out of control. And I did, try to get help. The neurosurgeon, telling me that there was nothing on the MRIs. Well, of course there is on the MRIs. The point is that he 2 years ago said he didn't want to do the surgery on the neck unless it became life-threatening, because it's going to be such a serious, intricate, and involved surgery. Risky, high risk. And I don't want it either. So he had no other avenues other than this. They haven't called me back about the block I said I would have. But what has then God, the Holy Spirit, what came to mind, finally, get to the pain doctor. And I did, and then of course he did the 12 or 13 different locations on my back. The physical therapist saw it. I haven't seen it because I can't look back there. I don't have a mirror to see back there, to be able to turn my head to see it. But he says, "Oh my goodness," he says, you're really jabbed all over the place, a lot of Band-Aids and things." But I said yes, and I said, so much better, although I'm still not sleeping well. So I'm hoping tonight I can sleep better. I developed sort of a phobia of not wanting to go to sleep and doing everything I could to stay awake because I didn't want to wake up with all that pain. And this morning I did. I had a numbness and pain down the right arm. But the pain was brief, the numbness stayed a little longer, but it was the right arm. So, it's just one of those things, but the steroids have generally helped a lot. I mean, night and day difference for me. So, and the doctor said that, he's going to be doing that once a month. I go back on July 1st. And we'll just do that until it's no longer effective. But as far as healing for me, see, that it's not my mission. God made it very clear, and I realize people who don't watch my earlier videos don't understand that I have arachnoiditis, and it's neurological and has different effects on different people. And part of the challenge of it is not knowing from individual to individual what's going to transpire, or when, or how fast, or if. Some people, you don't have the same symptoms of everybody else, and there's not much research on it to get into the depth, and you don't know when things will go or how fast it'll progress or what, but you don't die from it. You don't die from it, although your life expectancy is 12 and a half years shorter on average than what it would have been. So I should be dead now based on my mother, who lived the longest, 86 and a half, and 12 and a half years from that, I passed that marker in April when I turned 74. So, but you die from something else, cancer or whatever, or suicide. That's a reality of arachnoiditis. But I just keep praying for God's grace to endure to my natural end. And I'm sure he's going to help me with that, since I want that, obviously. But I tend to be a little late on realizing just how bad I've become, how out of control the pain is. So by, I guess it was a week ago Friday, or no, just last Friday, because they had the cancellation and got me in on Tuesday, that I called the pain doctor. "I need to get in, help me. And so they sure did. Cancellation, God provided that. Otherwise I'd have to have waited till June 12th. And, my mind says, no, you wouldn't have been able to handle that. But I'm sure God would have given me the means. But instead, God arranged for me to get in Tuesday, within 3 days of my call. So that was a blessing. And the doctor knew exactly, that I was in trouble, could tell, and went into action. So, but see, my mission, when I died back in 1987, July 28th, in recovery, after I'd had the first spine surgery, and they tried various things it was in the recovery room that I died. I might tell the whole story all over again on June 28th as an anniversary, 38th anniversary of it. But this coming July 28th. Or go back into my videos. I think you can put in words and it should pop up, like death experience or something. It was last fall, I think I probably talked about it. It's very miraculous, the whole thing. But I had cardiac arrest that no one would ever have survived. But I did, because God intended to send me back. Even though I didn't want to, when he asked me the second time, after showing me my children playing, little children they were at the time, and showed me my ex-husband, just his face all puffed up in a rage. And, his forehead all furrowed with, how he would just get so angry. And I just realized, oh my, but God asked me again, do you want to come on with me or go back? And I still couldn't say I would go back, although in my heart I felt terrible. But death and where I was, so pure love and joy and laughter, and everything was easy. You just move faster than light, or as fast as light, and your thought flash instantaneously to communicate with God. It's just glorious. And I hadn't even thought of my children until he showed them to me. Because when he asked me the first time, it's immediate. No, I want to go on. I want to go on with you. I hadn't even thought about what was behind me, earth or anything, or my life there. Nothing. That's why he had to show me the children and my ex-husband in a rage. And he wasn't in a rage all the time, but God chose to show me in his worst to see if that would even move me. I still couldn't say I would go back. The best I could say was, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And immediately God said, I'm sending you back to rear your children and fulfill your mission. And with that, I was going back. I was flying through infinity, and I could see, the hospital. I just went right into it, through the walls, through everything, right back onto the gurney. And there was the nurse in the recovery room, Lovita, good lad, love God. It was all I saw on her tag. Love God, Lovita, good lad was her name. What an irony that, huh? No, it wasn't an irony. No, it was not a coincidence. And she had her hand over my mouth and was yelling, breathe, breathe, and then saying, she's here, she's with us, and that. And they had called the surgeon, and he came over to me and rubbed my arm and said, I don't know if I can save you. Something's happened. I don't know what it was. I was thinking all the way over. He had to drive from home back over. It was nighttime then, maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock at night by then. And I got the full story from Lovita a few days later when she came to my room to ask me if I remembered anything. I remembered everything in detail and still do. And she said, you realize, she says, I don't know if you believe in God. I said, well, I do. She says, this was a major miracle. And I already knew that because I'd had this experience with God. And it was just incredible. So, but, I wasn't going to make it. So the surgeon rushed me back into surgery and said he would do his best to save me. I was in so much pain. God did not tell me I would be going back into a body of pain and suffering and a life of pain and suffering. But, then I definitely wouldn't have gone back. Isn't that awful? As much as I loved my children, and I love them now, my main suffering is my children, my adult children, who aren't happy with me at all as adults. They've blocked out things, and it was no picnic growing up with an unmedicated mother, especially once we moved back to the Midwest. I had nothing but Aleve. I did in my internals with ibuprofen. Tylenol did nothing, and I took it, but in the Aleve, that's probably what helped ruin my kidneys. That gave me the kidney failure. And my liver, who knows, it has bad test results, but they're not doing anything about that. It's after a while, it doesn't matter to me, see. I'm in the mission part of my life. My children are reared, for better or for worse. They're all very successful. And so something went right by the grace of God, thanks be to God. But they're not happy with me. And I had terrible pain and no medication. And I was young. I had all these losses to deal with, and a lot of harassment from the ex-husband, and so it was probably not the best for them. I don't know if they're angry about the the girls, the university they went to, but I couldn't take them out of state places, couldn't afford it, and couldn't drive them. So they went to a top-notch university in the state, known as the Ivy League of the Midwest. The one daughter definitely would have probably done better elsewhere, but she wasn't sure what she wanted to do, and that has all come into sort of miraculous fruition as a pickleball pro here, at later in life is what her niche is. And what she loves doing, and it involves travel and teaching. She's a gifted teacher, so that's, the other one's a brilliant computer, something with Microsoft. I don't even understand what it is she does, but doing very, very well, she and her husband, and 2 lovely daughters, and my son is doing great in journalism at a major network in Manhattan. So, they have no, everything has been great for them as far as their careers and their marriages, all but one. One married someone who fooled her, like I had been fooled by somebody who wasn't himself until the day after the wedding. He wooed her. So that happens. But anyway, that as much as I love my children, it's just, and I was grateful then, because I knew when God sent me back, when he chose that, I knew that's what God wanted. That, and I'm so thankful that I couldn't answer, that I couldn't say I would go back, because this way I know exactly what God wanted, and he wanted me to do that. So now I'm in the mission stage, the purpose, and fulfilling my mission. And it's still evolving, but it's coming down definitely to love of God above all things, to learn to love God as God loves, pure love. And I've known this, I've worked on it, but I'm understanding, well, thanks to LS, one of our viewers, who pointed out also that we can start with all the way I know how to love is human love. So I'm trying that, with my heart, with my mind, offering things I do for love of God. And I want to, think of a date night with Jesus and things like that will be fun, or won't be night, afternoon. I'm too exhausted at night, but or maybe he won't mind. We just hang out reading a book together. I mean, I won't remember the pages, but or read more of Gregory of Narrek's poetry. But something special, human. But God will understand that my heart is willing to learn to love as he loves, and then God will start teaching me how to love. Spiritual love. So it will all fall into place, and God will teach me. I will learn to listen to God and to what he wants of me, and to love others, and to love others as myself. So and I'm going to be, I am reminded of my working on my clinical psychology doctorate, and the dissertation I had mapped out way back. That was in 1988, and that was to study, or to develop some means of dealing with pain through God, through spiritual life. So I'm going to continue that. And I don't need to be healed. I don't really care about being healed. It doesn't matter. It's not going to affect my mission if I'm healed. God already told me, and Dr. H witnessed it and tape recorded, God speaking through me out loud. I had it all written down, what was on the tape recorder. And Luke the physician, John the Baptist, and God the Father spoke at different times over about a 6 weeks period of time. And one thing I was told was that while on earth, I will know earthly pain. And I said, well, God, if you would heal me, think of all I could do. This was a year after the summer after the surgery. So back then, yes, I wanted to be healed. I didn't want to have a life of suffering. That's normal. That's healthy to have that thought. It's typical. We're human. But God said, no, he said, that was a sweet but childish thought. God told me that. He said, if I would heal you, you would so easily be drawn out into the world again, into the temporal world. God did not want that for me. He wanted me to fulfill my mission. So, that I had my answer. And I knew when he said you would be too easily drawn, and that was a sweet but childish thought. Yes, indeed it was, because deep in me, I felt it, I knew it, that I would be drawn out into the world, and I would not be of use to God in that way, because I'd said, think what I could do for you, God. No, out in the world, I would not. I would be, look at me now, even, all the things I start doing. Sean and I were working, I've had this watering system this is my second summer. We're finally getting it in here. Now, I've had it for 2 years, so this would be, I think, the third summer. I didn't buy it last summer. I bought it before the knee replacement. Because I get sort of into this rush before I have some kind of a surgery where I start a new project in the gardens or something. It's like giving myself courage to get through the surgery and to have a goal set. You're going to have to get through it. You're going to have to build up because you have all this tubing that you got to do your watering system. So each of the little tubes will go into the planters so that I can turn it on eventually. I'm not done with it. And have these individual little feeding tubes with little handles that you turn off. So I can water all the planters going around, and they'll go all around the house. That will save a lot of time of watering on hot days. Today I went out a couple times watering different things. No, that's going to come out. A couple of these roses are coming out because they're not blooming. Or half of them are. Some other thing took over. These massive shoots came up that have no buds on them. So it's like something came up from the rootstock that is not a blooming rose. It's got the leaves of a rose, but no blooms, won't bloom. So I'm cutting that out, and we'll dig out these extraneous, odd, non-blooming roses so that it'll clear this out a lot. So it's, over time, God guided me into the Catholic Church, revealed to me my mission more and more, even recently, made it all the more clear. Love, pure love. And also since 2004, end of July of 2004, when St. Michael declared and ran his spear down through me, through my heart, love to suffer and suffer to love. And Joan of Arc appeared, and similar message, but used items to help me. She gave me an amulet, a gold amulet to wear for protection and courage. Oh no, the chevrons that she gave me, 5-bar gold chevrons she put on my left shoulder, and that's for courage. And the amulet was for protection. And I still have it on me. You don't see it. It's mystical. It's mystical. Same with the chevrons on my shoulder for courage. So it's to learn these things and then to share, to write or to share it. I think he really wants me to write, but sharing it is what I can do for now, especially if my hands are not usable for writing and things. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. That's all up to God. But see, with me, my mission is different. Other people have their missions. Some people have a mission to come up with things that will help people who suffer so that they can live a more typical life. Like Sean, he wants to live a more, have a job, a career, use his genius, get married, have a family. He would love to. He's got to get his health situation worked out and his energy up and things. There, all this that the brain damage did in his mind didn't affect his intellect whatsoever, but other aspects of the body. So, puppies, I know you're getting a lot of energy out. They were real good, but I just don't want to get pulled down. Okay, dogs, you're getting a little too carried away, okay? So that's the thing. And some people then have healing ministries. They have healing ministries, and but understand, if people have a healing, it's from God, not the person. The Holy Spirit. Dogs, come on. You're getting too rough. Lovey and Mercy, you're getting too rough. Too rough. Come on, let's go in. Let's go in. Come on. Too wild. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on. Hey, stop. Stop it right now. Stop. Let's get all your energy out now. Let's calm down before we walk inside. Okay? Let's go inside. That's good. Stay calm, oh crazy doggies. Come on. Anyway, it's everybody's going to die of something sometime. Those who are healed by Jesus Christ himself when he was on earth died. Their healings didn't last forever. Our lives don't. But some people have a mission in life that involves their physical body. But God often will, let me get these unhooked here, these puppies, will heal someone as a sign of God's power and might even. And it can be temporary healing, or like Paul, opposite. God struck him down for 3 days as a sign. Caused him blindness, and he was knocked down to the ground. So that's, just get over here to the window so you can see out in the dark, I guess. I guess you can see a little. The healing is temporary. It can last the end of to our earthly life, but our earthly lives are temporary. So it's not, for those who have a spiritual mission or purpose and what God wants of them, it, like mine, does not include healing and does not need healing. In fact, the suffering will teach me, and the love will teach me this tremendous interconnection and flow, this cyclical or spiraling double helix of love to suffer and suffer to love, of the connection between love and suffering. And it's powerful. And Jesus himself died, as we know. And, God could have stopped that. Jesus could have stopped it himself. That wasn't the purpose. It wasn't his mission. Just to keep living. He'd already talked himself blue in the face, as they would say, trying to get people to understand. And some did somewhat, his apostles, and others did. Others didn't, and many of them turned on him even. People did. Like when he explained about his body and his blood, his true flesh and his true blood, that would help sustain them if they eat his true flesh and his true blood. They couldn't think metaphorically, or it's even more than a metaphor, it's miraculous. It's a spiritual reality, a spiritual truth, but it was beyond people's comprehension except by faith. And so the people who didn't have the faith left Jesus, stopped following him. Oh, this man's crazy, He's talking cannibalism. So they didn't understand, didn't have the capacity to. And, but no, he didn't have, take other measures to save himself, because that was not his mission. And it's not mine. Mine, I have to obviously keep the pain under control. And for that, I have marvelous medications. They weren't enough for this, but the steroids helped. So we'll do that till it no longer helps, and we'll have to figure out something else eventually. I may have to have the horrible neck surgery. The the one they won't do unless it's life-threatening situation. And if it gets to the point where nothing works and my arms still aren't right, like I said, this morning it was my right arm. And I had a horrible spinal headache during the night. That's why I couldn't sleep last night. I did finally by 3 or 3:15 or so, but it was just one of those things that I'll have to just find things that help. So I took BC in the night. Well, that had caffeine in it, so that didn't help me sleep. But eventually I fell asleep by the grace of God. It's my mission is to learn love and to share that, and on my own case study, and to see, and then to be able to share with others the process and how it works, how it unfolds. I don't know what this is going to be, because I'm talking about a level of love that I don't know. Spiritual love, God's love. I only know human love that I know of, other than when in the ecstasies during Mass. I knew that love, but I can't, that's something that you can't do yourself. But I think that it was a foretaste of the feast to come, that God will show us, God will teach us. LS mentioned that we learn to listen in this love, and then God teaches us how to love, how he wants to be loved, and how to love others, and how to love ourselves. So it's a great adventure, and it's something that likely more people than we realize embark on at some point in time. But you understand, not everybody has a temporal or has even a healing mission. Very few, actually. But Sean and I were talking about the many products online, these plant-based greens in powder form, and how costly they are, and all the claims they make, when a lot of it is placebo effect. And I fell for it. My daughter takes one. She says, oh, this is the best. And I think I'm going to take it back. I don't know. I'd sort of like to try it to see, but I'm not usually affected placebo psychologically. I'm very, God has helped me be very alert, and I see through things. So I'm not one to be fooled usually with something that isn't actual. But I did look at the ingredients, and they're basically the same as something much cheaper. Not totally though, but it's, I'd asked the pharmacist at Costco, and she says, well, it won't hurt you. But I'd asked her about a couple other products, thinking, help my intestinal tract. She says, oh, she says, no, not really. She says, don't spend your money on that. She was being so kind. And then finally, with this plant-based powder, is supposed to give you all kinds of energy and, help you. The thing with me is I don't have much appetite. So to eat a lot of greens, a lot of food, for me is not easy to do. So this, in the liquid form, I can drink during the day and get in what I would get from the vegetables that I would otherwise consume. But I may try harder this summer to, I'm growing spinach and what else do I have going on? Other greens I'm growing. like dark leafy greens, chard. So, but spinach is good. Kale is very good for us. But I have to be careful. There are some things that aren't good for my kidneys. Kale is not good for my kidneys. So I don't have kale growing out there. So yeah, that's one thing. And a lot of supplements. People recommend lots of supplements to me, and I'm taking hordes of them. And it adds up, and I think I'd be better off using the money to send to Father Vincent for use in Nigeria than because I think I can probably get the nutrients. Like there's a spinach soup that I like to make. Lots of spinach, loads of garlic. It's called Italian rag soup. So chicken-based broth, and I mean loads of garlic, something like 32 cloves or something chopped up, and then you puree it, and you put eggs in it and blend it, or you slice up the spinach real fine and put it in at the end, and that's why it looks like rags, and then you whip in the eggs, the yolks and the whites, and it gets stringy. It's really very tasty, all that garlic. So it's a healthy soup. But spinach and kale, they're really not that great for. Broccoli's not good for kidneys, so I have to watch my kidney issues. So I don't have to, but I don't want to make my situation worse. That's one thing I don't do. I do try to be careful, so that I would like to fulfill my mission. This other part now. So and I'm getting on the train. I'm at least on the platform, understanding more of what it is. Love to suffer, suffer to love, but actually learn God's purity of love. And that will lead to union with God. And so, but in the meantime, then to learn to love others and to learn to love myself. It's all about love. And from love, once I love it more and more, we automatically want to do for others, for God. It's not the other way around, although we can. But I think this is going to end up being a more direct and simpler route than to do all the activities, hoping that we will learn how to love. We will learn the external parts, serving and helping the poor and that. And in meditation before the tabernacle, for those who can sit like that, yes. For me, I will need to do it within my heart, the tabernacle in my heart. Just quiet down, spend alone time with God, which I have plenty of. But to listen, that's something I need to learn more and more, is to be very receptive in the listening, because I'm so used to distracting my mind to get away from the pain. There comes a point when I need to embrace the pain. God is in the pain. Mary told me that, the Virgin Mary, back in fall of 95, I think it was, way back early, when I was first Catholic. I felt like Jesus had abandoned me. I was crying out, and the Virgin Mary appeared in a big, like a cloud kind of a ball. And also Jesus, he came out from the tabernacle in a big ball, like a viscous or a white cloud, round sphere. Well, it wasn't sphere like when they came out. Mary came from the Mary altar. They united above my head in a round sphere, this cloudy sphere. And Mary's voice said, "You will find him in your pain." See, I've never had any messages, any inclinations or indications from God, Jesus, or Holy Spirit, or the Virgin Mary, or Padre Pio, or anyone, Joan of Arc, anyone, my grandmother even, that I am to be healed. I wouldn't be able to fulfill my mission if I were. And suffering is not the evil that the world makes it out to be. But if it's not your mission, if God wants you healed, and I don't know yet about Sean. He may be a victim soul and is fighting it. I don't know. It would be natural to, at his age, 31, to not want to consider or even to look into or read about victim souls. It can be daunting. Tell me about it. So anyway, I'm just explaining this, and so all is good, and I'm just so grateful to be feeling much better, and we just don't know how long it lasts, and it really doesn't matter as long as I can maintain my sanity. I do appreciate that, to be able to cope, and just wait and see what happens. God bless you all. Maybe see you tomorrow. Bye. Good night.